Hi everyone, time for a video here. On my trips to town lately, I've noticed that the yuccas, as well as the Joshua trees, are fruiting right now. They've been through their flowering phase and they're fruiting. And I happen to have a couple of nice yuccas in my front yard, which I scrounged from the lot across the road and transplanted here about 15 years ago. And they're fruiting, and they look pretty nice, so I decided to scan them. I got those fruits and brought them in here and set them up on my scanner, and away we go. I put this new Ulanzi light on there. It gives about 180-degree fill for the light. Put it in my new photo booth. Still playing around with the lighting, trying to get everything better. I love to do textured scans, so I've always been working on my color ever since I got the POP1. You see a little bit of overexposure there on the pods in the depth window, but I think that's okay, because wait till you see what I got. They look pretty good. I'm playing around with a new thing here. I've never done it before. I've got background music going on. I'm hoping it turns out good. I picked some jaunty little music. I had wanted to get my granddaughter to compose and play some background music for me, but she's just too busy. She has so many enterprises going. She's an excellent musician, and I really would like to do that, but she's busy. She's young, I understand. She's going to college, and she's working one job full-time and has a little business on the side doing astronomy tours in the national park here in Joshua Tree. Well, if you don't know, the yucca is native to this area. In fact, the next actual town is named Yucca Valley because of the abundance of yucca plants up here. In fact, the Joshua tree is related to the yucca. Its scientific name is Yucca brevifolia. For those of you that don't know that, it's native to the Mojave Desert as well, and some Middle Eastern countries too, I think. I think I've seen photos of Middle Eastern countries with Joshua trees. But it's pretty ubiquitous out here in the Mojave at lower elevations. I'm at a high enough elevation. I don't have many here. In fact, the only Joshua tree I have, I had to go into town and get it from an empty lot, which at times has been illegal. I think it was okay at the time I did it. I hope it was. But out of the 5 that I brought up here, kidnapped and brought up to my lot, I only have one survivor that apparently got planted just right, because they're very persnickety about where they're located. But I just thought I'd do several scans and show you how I fiddle around trying to get the perfect scan. I must have done, geez, I don't know, maybe 20 scans. Videoed a lot of them while I was doing them. Picked out the better videos. I did some with the POP1. I mean, not with the POP1, but with the POP1 emulated settings, that is a fast scan with the lower resolution. And I probably should go back while it's all set up. I should go back and do a scan with the POP1, see how it does with the same lighting and turntable speed and all the variables associated with scanning. Hopefully you can follow what I'm doing by watching the buttons disappear. I don't know how to make it show. Every time I try to show my settings in my screen recording, it stops recording, so I can't show those too well. Yeah, it gets mesmerizing when you're watching all this stuff happening. There we go. Look at that. Pretty nice, huh? There's a non-textured version. I pretty much use the settings that the software pulls up, the automatic settings. Except, sometimes I did fill holes on this one. Sometimes I don't fill holes if I'm going to take it into Revel Studio and play with it. But these are just really one scan after the other. I didn't show some because I just never could get a good scan with what I was doing, the setup I was using, conditions, lighting and whatnot. I tried scanning this thing on its sides to get 3 different side views and see how that would work, but it's vegetation and it moves, so it's flexible. So this is the kind of position I have to scan from here. And you'll notice that the software keeps repositioning the scan to keep it in the center of view. I've seen some users complain about that. One guy said it actually made him sick watching it move around on the screen like that. I find it to be quite convenient. And before this, I was fiddling around with it, during the scan, trying to keep it in view. Pretty good exposure there in the depth window. You see that, well, I spoke too soon, I guess. There's some overexposure. But of course you want to keep it not all red and not all blue if you can. But see, the gain is set at the absolute minimum, so I can't get it any lower than that. With some objects I have to turn it up, put the gain up to 2 to get a good depth exposure. But this one is working okay. I just love watching it fill in those points. Pretty slick. Experimenting with my views here, my angles. Didn't mean to get my finger in the way. You notice that little black spot there? I think that's sugar. Whoops, got a mistrack here. But this is a neat thing. So you can pause, then you go back, take off the misscans, back it up, and away we go. Wait for it to get in alignment here. Where it'll align. There we go. Popped right in. See, I just had to wait till it came around to the right spot. But that black spot there, I think, is sugar from a peck mark or poke mark or bite mark. Something was trying to get into it. I had a couple in the car. I had picked them up in the open desert on the way back from town before I realized that I had some right in my yard, and actually these are the better specimens than I had seen out in the open desert. Right here in my own yard. But I think that's sugar in there that animals are after it. And the ones in my car had been out there in the heat, and I noticed that they were expressing some kind of clear liquid. I kind of like to test that, not taste it. I don't want to taste it, but kind of like to test it and see what kind of sugar content it has. That's a pretty nice scan right there. I think it captures the essence of the pods. It's nice coloring. That light seems to work very well for eliminating shadows for later texturing. I got a few blurbles there, but someday I hope to get good enough to do my own textures, design my own. Whatever, I believe the process is you take photographs and use those to develop your textures, colors. I would feel I've gotten pretty good. If I get to that point, I'd be kind of impressed with myself. I was playing around with the exposures there just to see what would happen. See if I ran the depth all the way up and then back down, if it would reset to a lower value, but it didn't. Be nice to have some fine tuning down at the bottom, make it a more of a logarithmic scale than linear. Would be kind of neat. But it works very well. I'm accustomed to making my tools work for my application, even if I have to do a workaround. I've spent my whole life working with cheap tools and cheap bosses who wouldn't buy good tools, so I had to learn to use what I had. seem having some alignment problems there, but usually if you give it a chance, you know, as long as you're certain that you've got the right angle, that you are picking up things the scanner has seen before, it'll eventually grab it and start tracking. I mean, that's been my experience. There's that overexposure again. Yeah, like I said, it'd be nice to have that depth, more of a vernier setting down in the 1 to 2 range. Would be neat. Boy, they've really done a super job with this software. As a beta tester, I've seen from HandyScan all the way back to this time a year ago when I started, or actually earlier than this. I started out, I think, in end of April in 2021 with the POP1. Very difficult to use, and the software was pretty raw, but it worked. I have some decent POP1 scans that I posted. In fact, I got asked if my POP1 scans could be used in the advertising for RevelPoint, which was a great honor to me. And what was I going to say? No? I said, well, of course. And then lo and behold, before you know it, I had a POP2 to beta test. I just love that little scanner. Couldn't say more good stuff about it. I'm just looking at the cloud there. The fused cloud, never going to mesh. Coming up toward the end of the scans here, like I said, I had a lot more that were not as successful, or they were as successful, certainly not more successful. And we're waiting. It's meshing, I believe. There's meshed. Then we're going to texture. And of course I'll still work on the color. I was disappointed my photo booth doesn't, it has built-in LED lighting, but it doesn't have adjustable color temperature, which I would really like. But it's all a work in progress. Well, there you go, everybody. That's my Yucca pod scans, multiple. I'll see you on the next go around. Thanks for watching, and great scans, everyone. Hope you're loving your POP2s. I sure love mine, both of them. We'll see you on the next go around.